right. Good afternoon, Facebook family. Good afternoon, Facebook family. So it is me again, checking in. Want to continue to share takeaways, lessons learned, do a little bit of some reading through the Old Testament for folks who have been following along. Y'all know I was inspired a while back, read through the entire Old Testament. Took me a couple of years. Really insightful throughout that season of my life. Felt like every day coming and going from work, I was listening to Les Feldick and his journey through the Bible. Real good, real to the point. I think I made it to probably he does it in books, 30-minute pieces of books. 14 before I kind of transitioned into this new season of currently listening to Lecrae's podcast, Into the Deep. Just started that. It's been really insightful. But my motivation, ask Daddy, sweetheart. My motivation for doing this is to capture the things that I've learned in the intranet on the web, as well as the Lord wills, be a blessing to those who've never taken the time to read the Old Testament and or see the value in reading the Old Testament. I'm here to tell you there is value in being a student, right? Just reading and making sure that you're staying prayerful and trusting God to help you to get what you need, as well as share what's helpful with the folks that you are blessed to be in community with. So that's what I do every Sunday or Saturday around the same time. I try to pivot, and I'm trusting and believing God that this is also helping me to remain organized in my everyday life. I'm big on structure. I bless the Lord for the self-discipline to do all the things. So right now I literally pivoted from doing some dissertation writing and watching the Eagles and the Commanders. They're playing right now. And after this, I will reconnect with doing the same thing. Of course, dinner, quality time with family, get ready to start a new week. But happy first day of the week to everybody. And let's get right in it. So we are going to start with Numbers 11 as far as takeaways, because to my knowledge, I did 5 through 10. And if I didn't, folks, let me know. I can always circle back to make it right. But we are going to start again with Numbers chapter 11. And what I wrote is to read all of Numbers 11, 1 through 35. And my takeaway that I wrote was the peopling. Moses hits a breaking point and expresses being overwhelmed through frustration to God. And God hears Moses and the people respond. So I'm going to read the chapter. So for folks who got their word, book, Bible, phone, app, follow along. But Numbers 11 and 1. Now when the people explained, hold on one quick minute. Fresh, please stop making all that noise. If you are, you have to go downstairs with it. Do you understand? You understand, right? Yeah, and don't make a lot of noise. I just want to make sure you understand what I'm saying. Yes, ma'am. All right, appreciate you. All right, so Numbers 11 and 1, y'all. Now, when the people complained, it displeased the Lord. For the Lord heard it, and his anger was aroused. So the fire of the Lord burned among them and consumed some in the outskirts of the camp. 2. Then the people cried out to Moses, and when Moses prayed to the Lord, the fire was quenched. 3. So he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord had burnt among them. 4. Now the mixed multitude who were among them yielded to intense craving. So the children of Israel also wept again and said, who will give us meat to eat? 5. We remember the fish which we ate freely in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. 6. But now our whole being is dried up. There is nothing at all except this manna before our eyes. The people complaining, y'all. Verse 7. Now the manna was like coriander seed, and its color like the color of bdellium. I probably said it wrong, but bdellium. 8. The people went about and gathered it, ground it on millstones, or beat it in the mortar, cooked it in pans, and made cakes of it, and its taste was like the taste of pastry prepared with oil. 9. And when the dew fell on the camp in the night, the manna fell on it. 10. Then Moses heard the people weeping throughout their families, everyone at the door of his tent, and the anger of the Lord was greatly aroused. Moses was also displeased. 11. So Moses said to the Lord, why have you afflicted your servant? And why have I not found favor in your sight, that you have laid the burden of all these people on me? Verse 12. Did I conceive all these people? He feeling himself now. Did I beget them, that you should say to me, carry them in your bosom, as a guardian carries a nursing child, to the land which you swore to their fathers? 13. Where am I to get meat to give to all these people? For they weep all over me, saying, give us meat that we may eat. 14. I am not able to bear all these people alone, because the burden is too heavy for me. 15. If you treat me like this, please kill me here and now, if I have found favor in your sight, and do not let me see my wretchedness. So this is Moses crying out because he's overwhelmed to the point where he's saying, Lord, just take me now. They are doing the most. I cannot handle it by myself. So here's when the 70 elders come in, and we saw a recap earlier about how his father-in-law, it was Jethro or Ruel, asked him, like, why are you trying to manage all these people and do this by yourself? Like, get you some help. So here's a reiteration of the help, right? Verse 16. So the Lord said to Moses, gather to me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom you know to be the elders of the people and officers over them. Bring them to the tabernacle of meeting, that they may stand there with you. 17. Then I will come down and take with you there. I will take of the spirit that is in you, and will put the same upon them. And they shall bear the burden of the people with you, that you may not bear it yourself alone. Right here is the love of God. He hears Moses. He ain't caught up in how Moses is coming at him with his frustrations and complaining about being overwhelmed. He hears him, and then he blesses him and explains to him how he's going to make sure that these 70 are going to be able to do what is required of them by the Spirit of God that is already residing mightily on the inside of Moses. He's saying, I'm going to pour some out on them, but they got to come here to get it. 18. Then you shall say to the people, consecrate yourselves for tomorrow, and you shall eat meat. For you have wept in the hearing of the Lord, saying, who will give us meat to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt. Therefore the Lord will give you meat, and you shall eat. 19. You shall eat, not 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, nor 10 days, nor 20 days. Verse 20. But for a whole month, until it comes out of your nostrils and becomes loathsome to you, because you have despised the Lord who is among you, and have wept before him, saying, why did we ever come up out of Egypt? So the Lord is saying, I'll bless you with meat, and you're going to get sick and tired of it. I'm not going to give you a little bit here and there. You're going to get a whole month of more than you can even handle, to the point to where you're going to rethink why you thought it made sense to complain about not having meat when I've already provided your needs. People always want more, y'all. So, 21. And Moses said, the people whom I am among are 600,000 men on foot. Yet you have said, I will give them meat, that they may eat for a whole month. 22. Shall flocks and herds be slaughtered for them to provide enough for them? Or shall all the fish of the sea be gathered together for them to provide enough for them? So this part is interesting to me, because I feel like God has shown himself strong in so many ways. So come on, Moses. Moses is like, God, you know how many men, women, and children out here? How we going to do this? Why? I don't know. Maybe he in his feelings, right? Maybe he ain't consecrated like he needed to be reminded that God is able, y'all. 23. And the Lord said to Moses, here go the Lord letting him know, you don't forget, but let me remind you. 23. And the Lord said to Moses, has the Lord's arm been shortened? Now you shall see whether what I say will happen to you or not. 24. So Moses went out and told the people the words of the Lord, and he gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people and placed them around the tabernacle. 25. Then the Lord came down in the cloud and spoke to him, and took of the spirit that was upon him, and placed the same upon the 70 elders. And it happened, when the spirit rested upon them, that they prophesied, although they never did so again. 26. But 2 men had remained in the camp. The name of one was Eldad, and the name of the other was Medad, and the spirit rested upon them. Now they were among those listed, but who had not gone out to the tabernacle, yet they prophesied in the camp. 27. And a young man ran and told Moses and said, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. 28. So Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' assistant, one of his choice men, answered and said, Moses, my Lord, forbid them. 29. Then Moses said to him, Are you zealous for my sake? Oh, that all the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord will put his spirit upon them. 30. And Moses returned to the camp, he and the elders of Israel. I'm going to pause there because I thought it was real cool to see even the 2 of the 70, the total. So 68 were obedient, got to where they needed to be. But even the 2 who didn't, the Lord still showed himself strong, right? And of course, other people saw like, hey, hold on, man, right? And of course, they go and tell Moses because there may be some ordering things and they're trying to figure it out. And Joshua, he meant well, but he was like, man, forbid them. They out of order. But Moses was like, hey, the Lord is mighty. I wish all of y'all were doing this. You feel me? So I thought that was a powerful moment to see, no matter where you are, whether you make it to the church, whether you make it to the Bible study, when the Lord say he's going to move and do something, and whenever he decides to, if you crying out, no matter where you are, school, club, work, car, church, etc., the Lord is still capable of moving and doing his thing. So that was cool to see. Almost there, y'all. 31. Now a wind went out from the Lord, and it brought quail from the sea, and left them fluttering near the camp, about a day's journey on this side and about a day's journey on the other side, all around the camp, and above 2 cubits above the surface of the ground. 32. And the people stayed up all that day, all night, and all the next day, and gathered the quail. He who gathered least gathered 10 homers. And they spread them out for themselves all around the camp. 33. But while the meat was still between their teeth, before it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord was aroused against the people. And the Lord struck the people with a very great plague. 34. So he called the name of that Kibroth Hattava, because there they buried the people who had yielded to craving. 35. For Kibroth Hattava, the people moved to Hazeroth and camped at Hazeroth. I'm going to stop there. Y'all, when I tell y'all I thank God for Jesus, the Lord didn't play. He literally gave them what they wanted. And then said, ooh, y'all been breached. I'm mad again. I don't know that he stopped being mad, to be honest with you. But he flat out struck them with a plague that killed some. And they carried on. But that was Numbers 11, y'all. The people was peopling. Moses cried out, overwhelmed, stressed, complaining. He need help. The Lord delivered those 70 and allowed for the spirit that he had placed on the inside of Moses to now dwell inside the 70 so they can help with the hundreds, the thousands, probably millions of folks across the 12 tribes, including the mixed multitude, the strangers, right? But that was 12. Now, Numbers 12, my reaction, my takeaway was, whoa. Because the Lord is already feeling some type of way, right? About the peopling, they complaining. But I wrote, whoa. I wonder why just Miriam, though. But whoa. So, yeah, God don't play with his children. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm going to read 12 so y'all can understand why I was like, whoa. Numbers chapter 12 and 1. Then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman who he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. So apparently this is put in here because there seems to be a problem between Moses's brother and sister, Aaron and Miriam. Now, why it's a problem now, I don't know, but it was significant enough to be here, and we're going to find out. Verse 2. So they said, has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us also? And the Lord heard it. 3. Now the man Moses was very humble, more than all men who were on the face of the earth. 4. Suddenly the Lord said to Moses, Aaron and Miriam, come out, you three, to the tabernacle of meeting. So the three came out. So the Lord done called all three of them. Like, if you have children and you probably overheard something, or it's like a loud thud going on, and you call, hey, y'all come here. This is what's happening right now. Verse 5. Then the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both went forward. Verse 6. Then he said, hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to him in a vision. I speak to him in a dream. 7. Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. 8. I speak with him face to face, even plainly, and not in dark sayings. And he sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? So they done messed up now. If y'all are following what the Lord was putting down when he was speaking to Miriam and Aaron. He called all three of them to the spot, but he asked Aaron and Miriam to step forward and said that. 9. So the anger of the Lord was aroused against them, and he departed. Got mad, left. That's what the Lord did. Verse 10. And when the cloud departed from above the tabernacle, suddenly Miriam became leprous, as white as snow. Then Aaron turned toward Miriam, and there she was, a leper. 11. So Aaron said to Moses, oh, my Lord, lowercase Lord, please do not lay this sin on us, in which we have done foolishly and in which we have sinned. 12. Please do not let her be as one dead, whose flesh is half consumed when he comes out of his mother's womb. Ugh. 13. So Moses cried out to the Lord, saying, please heal her, O God, I pray. 14. Then the Lord said to Moses, if her father has spit in her face, culture, custom, y'all, would she not be shamed even 7 days? Let her be shut out of the camp 7 days, and afterwards she may be received again. 15. So Miriam was shut out of the camp 7 days, and the people did not journey till Miriam was brought in again. 16. And afterward the people moved from Hazeroth and camped in the wilderness of Paran. I'm going to stop there. That's why I said, whoa. And that's why I also questioned, man, like Aaron he wasn't impacted. And we understand why, right? He's a high priest, right? He's responsible for the Levites. So I'm sure God understood that couldn't be, because then the person who's leading the charge with the holy man, the ones who's been consecrated, they're out of place, right? So Aaron, man, had God's mercy due to what he stepped into, even though he was tripping too with his sister. But his sister, who was a prophetess according to the word of God, the first woman named as a prophetess in the word of God, the Lord, he made an example of her. And then he talked about, from a customarily standpoint, if she was to disrespect her father, her earthly father, flesh father, he spit in her face. And I was just like, ugh. But again, culture, custom. Yes, that means I'm done with you. And then you're considered unclean based on what we learned about bodily fluids in all of the books and the laws and the commandments. So that was Numbers 12 and my takeaways. Now, in Numbers 13, I'm going to read 1 through 3 and then 16, because this is when things get interesting again. The Lord spoke to Moses, and then we see Caleb hit the scene. We already seen Joshua or Hoshea, depending on how you say what you say. But Hoshea or Joshua is Moses' assistant. And he is one of those that's spoken of in a positive light. But Caleb hits the scene, who's also a person that's spoken of in a positive light in Numbers 13. But Joshua and Caleb, they're on scene together, and Joshua continues to be centered in 16. So I'm going to read that, and then I'll jump again to 20 and 21, and then I'll wrap up with 24 and 33, because it was a lot going on, but a lot of good stuff as far as like reading and understanding. And then I grew up vacation Bible school, at home Bible studies, just grew up seeing and learning a lot. So now reading as a person that has my own family, I'm continuing to like put pieces together or remember like, ooh, this is how, right? And why the things make sense. So let's get it. We are in Numbers 13, and I'm just going to do 1 through 3. The others are all about who was who and what tribe, if you want to continue to see. But Numbers 13:1. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, 2. Send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the children of Israel. From each tribe of their fathers you shall send a man, every one a leader among them. 3. So Moses sent them from the wilderness of Paran, according to the command of the Lord, all of them men who were heads of the children of Israel. And verses 4 through 16 is about like who was who's representative of each tribe. All 12 tribes was represented. Then we go to 16. So Numbers chapter 13, verse 16. These are the names of the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Hoshea, the son of Nun, Joshua. So we saw and learned who Joshua was in the previous chapter. Y'all remember, Joshua is Moses' assistant. Okay? All right. So now I'm going to jump over to verse 22. Well, I'm going to do 20 and 21. Makes sense? And then 24 and 33. So, Numbers chapter 13, verse 20. Now, fast forward before I get into it. The Lord told Moses, go send out the man to spy out the land that I promised y'all. So they have gone to go do what they was told to do. They went into the south up through the mountains to get to the land of Canaan, the promised land. Now they are there to see it, y'all. It's a 40-day-ish journey, y'all will see. Well, they were gone for 40 days. I don't know how long the journey was, but let's get into it. So verse 20. Now, the Lord told them, go see what the land is like, whether the people who dwell in it are strong or weak, few or many. This is verse 18. And then 19, whether the land they dwell in is good or bad, whether the cities they inhabit are like camps or strongholds. So go and do your homework, right? When you're a spy, that's what you do. Go get the intel, bring it back. Verse 20, whether the land is rich or poor, and whether there are forests there or not, be of good courage and bring some of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the season of the first ripe grapes. 21. So they went up and spied out the land from the wilderness of Zin as far as Rehob near the entrance of Hamath. So that is 20 and 21. And I'm going to jump to 24 of chapter 13. 24. The place was called the Valley of Eshcol because of the cluster which the man of Israel cut down there. So when they was there, they cut down some fruit. They also noticed that the descendants of Anak were present. And what you'll learn about Anak, A-N-A-K, is that they're giants. And then there's a story behind how giants came to be in the land, because our understanding of angels is that they are submitted and obedient to Elohim. They are always worshiping and following Elohim's expectations. But what we learn is angels tend to try to do their own little thing out of order. And that is how Satan or Lucifer ended up getting kicked out of heaven with some homies due to disobedience. That story is in Leviticus, I believe. And then you'll see it again in some other chapters of the Old Testament. But long story short, getting back to Anak, the descendants of Anak, they're giants because angels looked down on women and then did the things they didn't do by showing up in the form of man and flesh and then the procreation. So they were still allowed to do some things. And clearly, King of King, Lord of Lord, Rock of Ages, the Lord God, all of that was allowed. I don't get into trying to understand, overstand. I just know that what it is what it was. So they went into the land. They observed descendants of Anak being there, along with a lot of other different type of people. And then they cut down a branch with one cluster of grapes. And in this land, apparently, the fruit was sizable because they carried it between two of them on a pole. So one cluster carried between two of them on a pole, right? So getting back to 24, they named the place in the valley of Eshcol because of the cluster which the man of Israel cut down there. 25. And they returned from spying out the land after 40 days. So they was gone for 40 days. They did their report, checked out everything. They clearly were not detected by the people. So they didn't look too different from the people, and or they knew where to be to not be found out. And then 26, after the 40 days. So 26, now they departed and came back to Moses and Aaron and all the congregation of the children of Israel in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh. They brought back word to them and to all the congregation and showed them the fruit of the land. 27, then they told him and said, we went to the land where you sent us. It truly flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. 28, nevertheless, the people who dwell in the land are strong. The cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw the descendants of Anak there. 29, the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south. The Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains. And the Canaanites dwell by the sea along the banks of the Jordan. 30, then Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and take possession, for we are well able to overcome it. So he bought that life, Caleb. 31, but the men who had gone up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. 32, and they gave the children of Israel a bad report of the land which they had spied out, saying, the land through which we have gone as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people whom we saw in it are men of great stature. 33, there we saw the giants, the descendants of Anak came from the giants. And we were like grasshoppers in our own sight, and so we were in their sight. Stop there. All right, so that was 13. And what I wrote was like, with everything God had done, why did they stress and worry? And why did they continue to complain and be afraid? And I said that in the transition, even with the doubt piece, right? Man, they bigger than us. The Lord told y'all, that's y'all land. Go and subdue it. But fear, doubt, right? They didn't believe that they could do it, despite seeing how God showed up time and time again, right? So we get into like some hard truths that occurs, and y'all are going to see. But again, I wrote, with everything God had done, why did they stress and worry? Why did they complain? Why were they afraid? Why wasn't they self-assured? So Numbers 14, 1 through 4, I wrote the audacity, and we're going to read it. So Numbers chapter 14, 1. So all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. So when they got the report from the folks who went up to spy out the land, they stressed, they crying, just, oh my Lord, what we going to do? Verse 2, and all the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron, and the whole congregation said to them, if only we had died in the land of Egypt, or if only we had died in this wilderness. Better be careful what you say. Verse 3, why has the Lord brought us to this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and children should become victims? Would it not be better for us to return to Egypt? Verse 4, so they said to one another, let us select a leader and return to Egypt. My takeaway was the audacity. That's all I can say. Wow. That's what y'all gonna do. You hear a report and you just straight up forget who God is, right? And many of us have been there. I'm not gonna flex. Many of us have been there, forgetting who God is, not understanding the importance of walking by faith instead of sight. Not understanding the importance of starting your day with God. Something simple, right? Drink you a gut full of water. Give thanks. Be still. Ask that the words of your mouth and the meditation of your heart be acceptable unto God, who is your strength and your redeemer. Guard your heart. Go into the workspaces and places. On the way to the drive, keep your peace. Those things. We forget. So while I'm looking like, I can admit I've been there before. We forget. And in this place, in this stage of God's people, the Lord was present. I know Christ Jesus was there. The word was there. The person speaking was there. But he had not been the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate atonement. That's why I'm always like, thank God for Jesus, right? So when they made some mistakes and got too big for their britches, God was like, man, burn it down. Cut them off. Swallow them up into the ground. I don't got time for it. I'll take care of y'all, though. It'll be the remnant. It's a whole bunch of y'all, and then I believe what I say when I say you can't even count the stars and the sand on the beach. Still gonna keep to my word, but they not it. And that's how God was doing it. If we notice, he was literally burning them up, cutting them off, swallowing them up. That's why I was like, man, thank God for Jesus. But I said the audacity when I saw 14:1-4, how they decided, oh, we're going to get a leader and go back. Go back. But 430 years of oppression. I've heard somebody say in modern day, like, you can take a person out of slavery, but you can't necessarily take that mind out of the enslavement. And that could be what it is. You think the grass is greener, but you forgot what it was like. Woo! Anywho, let me get off my tangent. So Joshua stands up and speaks the truth, and because he gets it. So in verse 6 is when we see this happening. In 14 verse 6, here's Joshua. I'm gonna go through 6 to 10. So 14 and 6. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spied out the land, tore their clothes. So from a cultural standpoint, when they're grieving, when they're upset, when they're overwhelmed, when they're just like distraught, right? When they're hurting, they tear their clothes. Culture, custom, different. Verse 7, and they spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, the land we passed through to spy out is an exceedingly good land. Verse 8, if the Lord delights in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey. Verse 9, only do not rebel against the Lord, nor fear the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their protection has departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. Verse 10, and all the congregation said to stone them with stones. Now the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of meeting before all the children of Israel. So it's really about to get real. Caleb and Joshua stood up and said, who are we to be afraid? The Lord is with us. This is our land to go take. All them people, man, we can eat them for lunch. When he said they are our bread, I'm just, translating to the 2024 version, 2025 version. We gonna eat them for lunch. Like, why are you talking about they bigger, better, stronger? God on our side, right? Now, the folks, instead of listening and understanding and remembering who God is, was like, man, let's just kill them real quick. They talking about getting some stones. Crazy. So this is when the Lord gets into the mix of it, y'all. So I'm like, ooh. All I can say was, ooh. Because God wasn't feeling it. I'm going to keep reading. Verse 11. Then the Lord said to Moses, how long will these people reject me? And how long will they not believe me with all the signs which I have performed among them? Verse 12, I will strike them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and I will make of you a nation greater and mightier than they. 13, and Moses said to the Lord, then the Egyptians will hear it, for by your might you brought these people up from among them. So the Lord like, hey, I'm about to get rid of them, and I'm going to take care of you and your nation. Y'all going to be good. But they not it. Done. And here is Moses pleading and interceding on behalf of the people who they just stiff-necked, lack faith, lack trust, right? Got amnesia, can't remember. But Moses, man, here he go interceding again. So verse 14, and they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land. They have heard that you, Lord, are among these people, that you, Lord, are seen face to face, and your cloud stands above them, and you go before them in a pillar of cloud by day and in a pillar of fire by night. Verse 15, now if you kill these people as one man, then the nations which have heard of your fame will speak, saying, verse 16, because the Lord was not able to bring this people to the land which he swore to give them, therefore he killed them in the wilderness. 17, and now I pray, let the power of my Lord be great, just as you have spoken, saying, 18, the Lord is long suffering and abundant in mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, but he by no means clears the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation. I'm gonna pause there because that's deep. I remember growing up and not really being able to explain why I was quote unquote afraid to be acting up and to be cutting up. What I know now is that the Spirit of the Lord was with me then, helping me to understand what I now can read and see to be the truth. Mommy. My obedience and my reverence to parents and the Lord and grandparents and elders, uncles, cousins, whole nine, helped to prepare me to protect and bless my children and their children and their children and their children. And I say that with confidence because I remember reading this, and it's in the Word of God multiple times. You act up, generations to the third and fourth will be cursed because of your decisions in the now. You do right, generations up to the third and fourth generations will be blessed because of your choice in the now, right? And by no means was I perfect, right? For folks who may still struggle with understanding what it is and what it ain't. But it was really hard. And I remember being insecure in that, especially like coming into the Lord at a young age. I remember being like feeling like I need to fit in. You know what I'm saying? Feeling like maybe I don't need to be so serious, because that was the retort from my age group. Why are you so serious? Like, you're so serious. Have fun. Like, let loose. Take a risk. The Holy Spirit would flat out be like, it'd be just subtle. And I would listen. So the whole point of this with verse 18 is the Lord is long suffering and abundant in mercy and forgiving of iniquities. But when you out here just doing what you want to do with disobedient to the point where he says, okay, it's time now, right? Because grace and mercy, Lord, I thank you for it every day. But essentially, when you've passed your test, it makes no sense to go back and change the answer to fail the test to stay in the same situation. When you know better, you got to do better, But I'm going to get off this tangent again. We're going to keep it moving because time is time. I'll be talking all day long, but I want to be mindful of people's attention span and other things that need to be done. So moving on to verse 19, which is where I'm going to pause before I finish out. Pardon the iniquity of this people, I pray, according to the greatness of your mercy, just as you have forgiven this people from Egypt even until now. So this is Moses interceding on behalf, because God is like, yeah, I'm getting rid of them. I'm disinheriting them. I'm cutting them off. They keep disrespecting me and I'm not feeling it. But I'm going to take care of you and your nation. I'm going to keep my word about the nation. So that was that. Now, verse 20, this is the Lord. So good, y'all. He's so good. Then the Lord said, I have pardoned according to your word. 21. But truly, as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. 22. Because all these men who have seen my glory and the signs which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness and have put me to the test, now these 10 times, and have not heeded my voice, he mad, y'all. He been keeping count. 10 times, y'all. Verse 23. They certainly shall not see the land of which I swore to their fathers, nor shall any of those who rejected me see it. I learned here everybody didn't make it. The Lord straight up said they're not going to see it. And I know I swore this to their fathers. But those who rejected me, they're not going to see it. Remember, God is a loving God, but he has consistently said, if you do these things, then I will do these things. Because I'm not incapable, but I need you to not be out here embarrassing me. I need you to be obedient, right? I need you to trust me. If you do these things, then I will bless you. Then you will inherit the land which I promised. So verse 23 of chapter 14 was like, man, he straight up said, they are not inheriting this land. And that is layers even until today. Who is and who isn't inheriting the land because of the disobedience. Again, third and fourth generations got screwed. And God always had mercy. I'm going to say that. I read when you see God's mercy. That chosen few, the remnant, those who pleases him, right? And it can be a handful out of the group. Out of the group, it could have been 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. But 23, verse 24. But my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit in him and has followed me fully, I will bring into the land where he went, and his descendants shall inherit it. Verse 25. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwell in the valley. Tomorrow turn and move out into the wilderness by way of the Red Sea. Stop there. So all I can say is, the Lord said that they ain't going to the promised land, y'all. But Caleb, he gonna look after. And y'all guess what tribe Caleb represented? Caleb. Tribe of Judah. Of course, when you get into genealogy numbers, the OG census, it breaks it down. But Caleb is from the tribe of Judah. And you can see that in Numbers 13 and 6, as far as like remembering. But boy, was it good to be 19 and under if you were not the tribe of Judah. I said that when I was reading Numbers 14, 26 through 28, which I may stop there because I know we at this 40-minute mark. I said I was going to get to 15, but I really don't know. And I really feel like I need to read a lot of Numbers 15. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop at 14 just to make sure this isn't going too long. But again, my takeaway was when reading Numbers 14, 26 through 38, boy, was it good to be age 19 and under if you were not the tribe of Judah. So this is God continuing to talk about what it is and what it's going to be. Verse 26 of chapter 14. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, 27, how long shall I bear with this evil congregation who complain against me? I have heard the complaints which the children of Israel make against me. Too loud, son. Verse 28. Say to them, as I live, says the Lord, just as you have spoken in my hearing, so I will do to you. 29. The carcasses of you who have complained against me shall fall in this wilderness. All of you who were numbered according to your entire number, from 20 years old and above. 30. Except for Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun, you shall by no means enter the land which I swore I will make you dwell in. 31. But your little ones, whom you said will be victims, I will bring in, and they shall know the land which you have despised. Grace and mercy. That's when I was like, ooh, to be 19 and under. Grace and mercy. Because he's still keeping his promise to the forefathers. Your folks going to get in there. But y'all who knew better, age of accountability, and you out here wilding, your carcass, like, you going to die right here in the wilderness. Because you just talking about, oh, that we died in Egypt, or oh, that we died in the wilderness. He said that's what's going to happen. 32. But as for you, your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness. 33. And your sons shall be shepherds in the wilderness 40 years, and bear the brunt of your infidelity until your carcasses are consumed in the wilderness. 34. According to the number of the days in which you spied out the land, 40 days, for each day you shall bear your guilt 1 year, namely 40 years, and you shall know my rejection. 35. I, the Lord, have spoken this. I will surely do so to all this evil congregation who are gathered together against me. In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. 36. Now the man whom Moses sent to spy out the land, who returned and made all the congregation complain against him by bringing a bad report of the land. 37. Those very men who brought the evil report about the land died by plague before the Lord. 38. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh remained alive of the man who went to spy out the land. I'm going to stop there. So the folks who came and lied, like gave the bad report because they were worried about how strong the people were and how fortified the city was, despite God saying, it's yours to take. God said, yeah, let me go ahead and make an example. Because you lied to the people, you got them up in an uproar. Now they are hundreds of thousands trying to stone Joshua and Caleb. And they trying to get a leader to go back to Egypt. And then they tell me, we might as well die here because you just sent us to go die in the land you said is ours. And now God is like, now I got to essentially let you keep your words. You're going to eat your words. You say you want to die in the wilderness of sin? I'm going to do that. But again, the beauty of God is 19 and under, y'all going to enter. You're going to inherit the promised land. But 20 and under, those of y'all who knew better and did the uproar and was speaking bad on your children and worried about your children, you're not going to make it. You're not going to enter. And that is how 14 ends, y'all. Like, I'm still itching to read like the last chapter of 15, but I do know that it's a lot to unpack. And I also know the importance of checking back in with the fambo. So what I'm going to do is stop here at 14 versus getting to 15. I'll modify the title. But I pray that y'all are continuing to be well. Pray that you are continuing to remember who you are and whose you are. Praying that you continue to take care of your temple, staying hydrated, eating nutrient-rich foods, trying to think of ways that is going to help you to continue to be at your best. And you don't have to think hard. I'm going to tell you, you start with God. The things kind of lay themselves out for you. So don't overthink. Don't stress. Go where peace is. But continue to make it a great Sunday. Appreciate y'all letting me go into the 40-ish of minutes. I'll be trying to stick around the 30-ish. But take care, Lord willing. Next weekend, I'll be able to check in, and then we'll see what I can do the weekend after, because I believe I'm going to be in a completely different time zone at a conduct conference presenting, which is a blessing and a privilege, and I appreciate it. So I may have to skip that one, but I'll play it by ear and see, what I'm able to do while still making sure that I'm maximizing that experience to be in community with people, present well, all that good stuff. But until next time, y'all take care. Bye. Good job.